Hi guys, so I thought I'd do a quick video on another kombucha I found. So this one is Remedy Kombucha and it's a ginger and lemon. So it's a bit sour and fiery and tangy. Now when I looked in the ingredients, which you should always do, because you're putting it inside you, it's got organic steviol glycosides from stevia, which is a plant that people use to sweeten things, and it's said to be 200 times stronger than normal sugar. Yet it's got no sugar in it, so it's a sugar substitute, you know, with all the candida stuff and all this. Okay, so what's so interesting about stevia and why I thought to make a video on this? Let's go have a look and we'll check that out. So there's just that again, in case you need to find that. And we'll check out why stevia is so interesting. With Lyme's disease. So what I've done here is I've just used the search function. If I click back, you'll be able to see all I did was search through the front page, consciousazine, come down here and I just put Lyme's. It's a keyword search. So this can help you track down things that you're looking for, you see. So all the pages came up that had that word on it, as you can see it bolded. And I opened up the relevant ones because I'm the site creator, so I know which ones were the most relevant ones. So let's go to this one in a second. I'll just set this up for a sec. Find it. Yep, that one. We'll come back to that. We're going to start on the eclectic toothbrushing post. If I had a title on it, I'd call it. And I remember researching late one night, I think it was on David Wolf's bestdayever.com, and I was reading about flaxseed can inhibit Lyme's disease bacteria. So I'll put that in here in this post. And some people have Lyme's disease found in their root canals. So as you can see, drinking that kombucha, which is already the SCOBY, or beneficial bacteria and fungi culture, you know, which is, you know, probiotic or good for biotica, or your stomach, and you know, all your intestines and so on, just your inner environment. So not only that, but it's bringing the steviol with it, that glucoside steviol from stevia, and that's going to help treat you know, Lyme's disease forming in your mouth. Say you drank, you know, you put some flax seeds in that kombucha, well then there you go. You'd have both the flaxseed and the steviol inhibiting. So now this post is goes much deeper into it. You know, Lyme's disease is exceedingly difficult to treat because it's pleomorphic. It means it can shapeshift. You know, antibiotics are often failing to produce a long-term cure, and they could commonly be used, replaced, by stevia. It's a bit safer. So apparently 300,000 are infected with Lyme's disease annually, so it's quite a few people. Burgdorfera has a complex life cycle for Lyme's disease and can exist in radically different forms: spirochetes, spiroplasts, or L form, which lacks a cell wall, round bodies, or cyst form, which allows for dormancy and escaping PCR detection, and highly antibiotic resistant biofilms. These pleomorphic property makes conventional treatment exceptionally difficult. So you might want to get through biofilms and stuff, you might want to use things like Shilajit, and the fulvic acid in shilajit might decrystallize any shells. Sometimes all these nanobacteria, they have shells of like uranium, mercury, all this stuff. They sort of, like the calcites that form arthritis, they sort of hide as a polyp inside a sort of coral body, and they form that out of the aforementioned sort of things. So this is doing something similar by the looks of it. It's a sort of intelligent little bacteria. So it can change form to evade eradication through conventional means, just like the candida. Just like when we have candida overgrowth, and that's also pleomorphic. And that's why I don't recommend you just change from one sugar to another, like refined sugar to brown sugar. And I do recommend cutting sugar completely, at least for a while. And then you'll be able to notice if you can even have honey, or if you can even have, any sugar or whatever, or sweet things. But first you've got to cut it to check it out. And it increases your sensitivity, so when you touch it again, you realize exactly how much sugar you can actually have. Anyway, so there's a couple of studies here in the European Journal of Microbiology and Immunology entitled The Effectiveness of Stevia rebudiana whole leaf extract against the various morphological forms of Borrelia burgdorferi in vitro, which means in the petri dish. So it says here, if we go down, about 10 to 20% of the Lyme's disease patients treated with antibiotics for the recommended 2 to 4 weeks experience adverse health effects, pain, etc., etc. And you won't get that with the stevia, and that's why I always recommend that people get away from the synthetic miasma of the society and, the fake apothecary chemist and all this bullcrap that's going on out there, and we get back to what the earth has produced for us over millions of years, and not just one rat study on a pill. Okay, so the leaf extract of stevia possesses many phytochemicals which include astronolin, beta-carotene, dulcoside, niacin, ribudioxides, riboflavin, steviol, stevioside, and thiamine, with known antimicrobial properties against many pathogens. The role of these compounds is mainly to protect the plant from microbial infection and adverse environmental conditions. The researchers explored stevia's potential effectiveness against B. burgdorferi cultures in comparing it to 3 common antibiotics sometimes used to treat Lyme's disease: doxycycline, cephaloporazone, daptomycin, as well as their combination. The study results were summarized as follows. The susceptibility of the different forms was evaluated by various quantitative techniques in addition to different microscopy methods. The effectiveness of stevia was compared to those 3 drugs, their 3 antibiotics, and their combinations. The results demonstrated that stevia had significant effect in eliminating Burgdorferia spirochetes and persisters. Subculture experiments with stevia and antibiotics treated cells were established for 7 to 14 days, yielding no and 10% viable cells, respectively, compared to the above-mentioned antibiotics and antibiotic combination. With stevia and the 3 antibiotics were tested against attached biofilms, stevia significantly reduced B. burgdorferi forms. Results from the study suggest that a natural product such as stevia leaf extract could be considered as an effective agent against Lyme's. So there you go. I mean, you can read much more here. You can see the post is much longer. And here's some really good links from Green Med Info. So if you don't know about that website. So there you go. There's a couple of good links right there. And this is on the Let Thy Food Be Thy Medicine page. Now, so we've covered, and this, before I mentioned the toothpaste post, and that's on the Amalgam Maximum Novelty Health page. I'm just going to shut that down, shut this one down. Now there was one more thing. some girl, she had Lyme's and then she got stung by bees, and years later she thinks that that's healed her. So, and it turns out it's not just a sort of imaginary thing if we go into it. The bee venom and its mixture of many compounds, perhaps the most important is a tiny 26 amino acid peptide called melittin, which constitutes more than half of the venom of honeybees and is found in a number of other bees and wasps. This little compound is responsible for the burning pain associated with bee stings. Okay, so when we experience high temperature, like the bee sting, that the fiery feeling is brought on by melittin, our cells release inflammatory compounds that activate a special kind of channel, TRPV1, in sensory neurons. This ultimately causes the neurons to send a signal to the brain that we're burning. Melittin is subversely makes TRPV1 channels open by activating other enzymes that act just like those inflammatory compounds. Jellyfish and other creatures also possess TRPV1 activating compounds in their venoms. And here's the next link from Medical News Today. Bee venom destroys HIV and spares surrounding cells. Nanoparticles containing bee venom toxin melittin can destroy human immunodeficiency virus or HIV while at the same time leaving surrounding cells unharmed. Scientists from Washington University School of Medicine reported in March 2013 issue of Antiviral Therapy. So the researchers said that they're finding as a major step creating a vaginal gel. So they might create a vaginal gel with the melittin in it. I don't see how they could do that because the melittin makes you burn. Anyway, melittin destroys some viruses and malignant tumor cells. Melittin is a powerful toxin found in bee venom. So this goes some way to explain how it might have healed Lyme's disease, another sort of virus bacteria thing in the human body that's pleomorphic and hard to kill. I mean, if it can get to HIV, it has some power. Melittin on the nanoparticles fuses with the viral envelope. The melittin forms little pore-like attack complexes and ruptures the envelope, stripping it off the virus so that the virus is sort of exposed. That's interesting. So there you go. There's a little bit into Lyme's disease and steviol, and I thought I'd throw in the bee venom thing there.